Barou is the most built different striker in BlueLock. After entering the Neo Genesis scene, this man is a different animal. He is officially valued at 100 million after his match against Barca, scoring a hat-trick. Barou scoring a hat-trick in the realm of the pros, but we know it is not by himself. Ubers were the special piece of the puzzle for how they were scoring all this time, and honestly, it is a very systematic and defensive system. No wonder he scored a hat-trick. I mean, Isagi is fighting his teammates every chapter to try and score a goal, so you got to feel for him. In the Barca Munich versus Ubers match, honestly, it is a very crazy game. Barou has been devoured multiple times against Isagi by using the plan of Snuffy. Snuffy is definitely the mastermind to elevate Barou, but honestly, in BlueLock, this isn't enough to be the best. The emphasis on ego. Barou is a man full of ego, trust me, but wanted to learn the Snuffy way because there is a vision for him to be the best. But since the plan stopped working, Barou has switched the plan and is about to flip the script on his head. The build up from the chapter 227 and 228 shows the return of the villain. Remember to leave a like for more BlueLock, and let's continue. Why is Barou a villain? The way in which Barou wants to play football is by his own ideology, something Isagi wants, someone to play in his way of football, preferably the whole team. But the Ubers are much more compliant with listening to the rules and playing a certain type of way. This is seen as a negative because it shows they are willing to play in a robotic and predictable way, to the point Isagi blocked Barou's shot 3 times and almost made it 4, but a positive to bend to Barou's way. This was the Snuffy formula, which is an effective formula letting Barou be the next striker of Ubers. The problem is Barou wants to be the next striker of Ubers through his own methods. Snuffy needed a successor and tried to mold his vision of the best striker, but that's not how an egoist prevails. Telling Barou to listen to him and the mistakes would be his responsibility is probably one of the worst things that can happen to a player. You need the ability to take criticism in all realms and bear the negatives and positives of it, which is what Barou knew, and this goes against his whole code. Barou first was a villain when it came to the second selection in which Isagi killed him, but he was able to grow from that experience to become an anomaly on the pitch, purely unpredictable. So within the Bastard Munich versus Ubers, we see that that is what he wanted to do, go rogue and do his own thing. How did he end up succeeding? This situation allowed him to move the way he wanted to move. So pulling out a rainbow flick on Ness, which I have not seen him do since the first selection. He's been plotting this whole time to go rogue against Snuffy, to burn his ideology and his game plan to the ground. Just needed to learn how to use the Predator Eye, and now he's fine to operate like he did before, which is why they won the under 20 and which is why he's always been able to come in clutch. They are all confused on this new approach, but the Ubers have tactics drilled to accompany Barou, with the ability to feel despair, to evolve to the new heights and getting away from this lukewarm environment full of average and mediocre players. Barou shifts and uses Ronaldo chop feint, depending what you guys like to use, and as he is about to go in for the shot, Kaza and Isagi come running in with all their power and their meta visions to limit the possibilities of what he can do. But this didn't matter because Barou's already ready for Isagi. Seeming as if he had less options to shoot, he created the space by cutting in and just out of nowhere unexpectedly takes the shot after being constantly antagonized by Snuffy for taking his own route and playing his own way, creating his own path, the path of the villain on the pitch. Barou says if he can't be number 1 after all of this with his own methods, then he would rather do that and die honorably by his own hands and mistakes. Shooting between the legs of Isagi and Kaiser, who were completely dumbfounded at the fact that he was able to shoot in such a way. And this could have been intercepted by Snuffy or Noah, but Snuffy dummies the ball, stopping Noah from getting any touch at all, passing Gagamaru into the bottom left hand net of the goal, which is insane. Barou was able to control the actions of everyone on the pitch and to this day was able to use his style of play. Anything to allow him to be the main character in BlueLock, he will do. What's next for Barou is that he needs to find a way to consistently have his way. His way will fail and will cause him to become anew. This is what he wants and this is what he's willing to get. Not to be babied by Snuffy or his teammates, but to shoulder the responsibility and do what's necessary to become number 1. As it's helped him before, he knows it will help him again. This is the Barou way of believing that he can become the best. And I believe if Barou can continue passing and choosing to play in a team that is happy to revolve around him, he would be the best striker. In fact, even right now I believe he's the purest striker in BlueLock and with the largest ego too, to the point he's even ready to go against some of the best players in the world. People who are experienced within the field on their ideology and their tactics and how they go about things. Even Snuffy was impressed with his action. Now let's take a look beyond the chapters. How would Barou's philosophy be able to work in multiple teams? So for example, during the Japan under-20, we saw that it worked and he came on as a bench player. So how would it fare up in future when he's playing in actual teams? If he doesn't play for the Ubers, for example, another team comes in for him, they're going to be having a player that is pretty much destructive to all the teammates. He doesn't want to follow the rules, he doesn't want to listen unless he's going to actually learn something temporarily and then do his own thing. He's going to be happy to take all of this criticism, but it does come with some negatives. The players might feel like this is unfair because he's not able to follow strategy. The players might feel like they're getting hard done by. And even though ego is a big feature, we know that people overseas and things of that nature do not think in the same way that BlueLock does. One of the most interesting things about this is how Isagi felt about watching Barou. He felt Barou was being boring. He felt Barou was now becoming a bot, an NPC, and he didn't even know how to think for himself. It was even a joke that Barou even considered being number one if he's going to be listening to Snuffy the whole time. Everything is just easy for him, and that's why with Barou going against Isagi and losing all that time, he knew enough was enough and he was never going to continue playing the same way again. And when Isagi realized that Barou was able to do what he wasn't, he did not want him to score. He tried everything in his power, but he still wasn't able to stop Barou the machine. Barou, as I said before, has the biggest potential to become the best in the game of BlueLock, but the problem only is how he would be able to engage with his teammates. Right now he has a good team around him, everyone loves him, even giving himself a haircut and stuff like that, so right now he is in a very good team. But when Japan actually starts playing in the World Cup, how would he be able to compete in terms of reliability? When you have people like Isagi, when you have people like Rin, you know they're going to pass the ball and try and optimize the way for the team to score and also for themselves. But Barou is solely focusing purposely on himself, and that could be a problem between teammates in the future. If they start losing matches, Barou could say that yes, I can die honorably and it was all my fault and I'm happy to take the responsibility to get better. But then the teammates would be frustrated because they have to do the defending when you mess up. It's happened a lot of times in football. So as much as Barou is very goated in this moment, he needs to be careful of how he continues to proceed before he gets devoured by the likes of Shido, Kunigami, who are similar in terms of physique, and striker is the only thing they know. But in terms of excitement, that's one thing I'm excited to see, is that Barou, how would he be able to operate in the future, because after this chapter his stocks went up completely and definitely shown traits of being the best in the world. Snuffy believes in him and he's one of the most versatile players in the world, knowing his skills and what he's able and capable to do. Choosing Barou as a successor is something that doesn't come easy, but because he has the most chance of scoring and is the most logical thing to do, that is what he's decided to come with. Anyway guys, thank you for watching this video. I was just telling my thoughts on Barou, and I feel like Barou as a villain is always an interesting concept in BlueLock because it's not something that is done in real life, and it seems like it's something that could be a work in progress, could have its negatives and positives, but you know, we'll get there in the end to see what it really is. If you haven't already, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new, check this video out. This is another BlueLock video, and yeah, as I said to the new people, they'll come and visit my channel. Jana.